Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Sunday, which means it is match day. Of course, Fulham versus Arsenal kicking off in just a few hours' time. To be honest, I'm going to be heading there very, very soon to Craven Cottage. I want to say looking forward to this one, but I've got bad memories from last season. Just fingers crossed Arsenal can put that performance to bed and produce the type of performance they're going to need to get 3 points. And it's going to need to be a good performance because Fulham are a decent side. And I tell you what, it is still pretty wild out there. The storm, Dara, might have died down a little bit from yesterday. Of course, the Merseyside derby got called off, but it's still pretty wild out there. It is still windy. It's still raining. It is not going to be a pretty game of football. I can't imagine it's going to be a pretty game of football. I think it is going to be a backs to the wall, heads down, just scrap your way to 3 points type of day in these conditions. So we're going to talk about that in today's show. We'll give my predicted 11, of course. We're going to look at what William Saliba has been saying about his future ahead of the game. Got some comments and questions from you guys as well to get stuck into. And it is just a big game for Arsenal. Obviously, every game is a big game. We keep saying that, but got an opportunity now to go 4 points behind Liverpool because of what happened with the Merseyside derby yesterday. Yes, Liverpool will have a game in hand, but scoreboard pressure, it can play a part. Any cricket fan will tell you that. Scoreboard pressure always plays a part. And so if you can get that gap down to 4 points, then, and then play before Liverpool next. I'm not even sure how the fixtures work. So you could suddenly be just 1 point behind Liverpool going into that game. So got to get 3 points today. Got to respond well. Unfortunately, they're wearing the third kit, which the superstitious person in me doesn't like. I'd much rather Arsenal be playing in the red kit or the black kit today rather than the third kit. But got to be done, unfortunately, because Fulham play in white and black. And, of course, Arsenal's home kit apparently has too much white in it to be able to play against these sort of teams, as we saw against Tottenham. So, yeah, big game for Arsenal, no doubt about it. It really is a big one. But before I get to the predicted 11, William Saliba, ahead of the match, has been speaking about his Arsenal future. Of course, there's been lots of rumours about Real Madrid and their interest in his ramping up ahead of the summer. He'll have 2 years left on his deal by the time the summer rolls around. And there is lots of expectation that Real Madrid might come knocking for William Saliba. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But I think it sounds pretty inevitable that it will at some point. So William Saliba was speaking ahead of the game against Fulham, and he was asked about his future, and he was asked whether he wants to stay at Arsenal for the long term. And he said, yes, of course, I feel at home. I signed for the club 5 years ago, but it's only my third season, and I'm enjoying everything. The players, the staff, the fans. I feel at home. So, of course, why not? Which is exactly what you want to hear from someone like William Saliba, of course. Now, just because he says that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but fingers crossed it does. And we spoke about it before. Getting William Saliba tied down to another new contract, absolutely essential. It really is, just to bat off all this interest from Real Madrid, to give Arsenal the sort of stability that they need. And you can get rid of any sort of uncertainty, because we've seen it before when it comes to transfer sagas, especially when it comes to Real Madrid and how they can manipulate things. So you just want to get a new contract sorted first and foremost when it comes to William Saliba. And I presume that is going to be absolutely at forefront of Arsenal's plans, that and Bukayo Saka as we head towards the summer. He was also speaking about Gabriel and that relationship that he's had with Gabriel. And he says, since the first day I played with him, I've enjoyed every game. He's a massive, massive defender that is so good in every aspect. But if we want to be all-time great defenders where everyone remembers us, we have to win some trophies. We haven't done it yet, but we will give everything to achieve that. Everything is possible. The season is very long, and we've experienced that in the past 2 years. We just have to focus on ourselves. We are still only in December, so there are a lot of things still to happen. And he's right, you look back, you go in the long list of great Arsenal defenders that he'll want to go alongside, stretching back to the likes of Frank McClintock, of course, but, more recently, Tony Adams, Steve Bold, Martin Keown, Winterburn, Dixon, Toure, even Campbell, of course. They've all got their hands on plenty of silverware. And if you want to be listed along the all-time greats, now Saliba, I think, has absolutely got the talent to be standing shoulder to shoulder alongside anyone when it comes to top defenders. But if you want to be considered as a great, certainly for Arsenal, you need to be able to, put yourself down in history as a trophy winner and a multiple trophy winner. And that's his ambition. That's what he wants. Fingers crossed him and Gabriel can achieve that. Right. Predicted 11 for today then. Now, I've got to admit, I've really struggled with this one, and I haven't strayed too far from what we've seen of late. I've just got a sneaky feeling, though, and it's just a hunch that we might turn up at Craven Cottage later and be a little bit surprised by a couple of the selections. It's just a hunch. I don't know why. I can't shake it. So I was really umming and ahhing about this. I was thinking about Mikel Merino. I was thinking about Jorginho as well, maybe giving Thomas Partey a rest ahead of the Champions League game on Wednesday night. I just couldn't quite shake that feeling that there might be a couple of changes that I'm not totally expecting. But this is what I've gone for. I've tried to put that feeling to one side, and this is what I've gone for. So I've gone Raya in goal, I've gone Timber, I've gone Saliba and Gabriel. Obviously, I'm presuming Gabriel is fit here. If he's not, then I think that'll just be Kivior, especially after the decent performance Kivior put in. And I'm going Zinchenko. I just have a sneaky feeling that Gabriel's further down the line than Calafiori when it comes to a potential return. So I'm going Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko as my back four. Then I'm going Partey, Odegaard, and Rice as my midfield. But like I said, I don't know why. I've just got a feeling we might see one of Jorginho Marino in the starting lineup today. Up front, I've gone Saka. I think Trossard's going to come back in to the starting lineup today. And obviously, Havertz will be the striker again. During the week, I was thinking, could we see Gabriel Jesus play in this game? There is a Champions League game on Wednesday night. I think probably the more likely if Jesus is going to start one of those two games, it will probably be Monaco, though. So I'm sticking with Havertz as a striker. So my predicted 11, Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, Havertz, and Trossard. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, shocked, if I turned up and maybe Jorginho was in for Partey and Partey was given a bit of a rest, or if Marino might potentially come in for Partey and Rice drop into the number 6 role. Just I don't know. We'll wait and see. Not going too long to find out. As I said, it kicks off in 5 hours' time. Now I'm recording this just after 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm basically going to be dropping my daughter to karate as soon as I record this, and then heading to Craven Cottage. So find out very, very soon. So there's my predicted 11 for today's game. Going to get on some questions and comments and talk about the Merseyside derby and look at the Premier League results from yesterday in a second. But if you want to come back to this one after the game today, I'm going to do my video after my immediate post-match reaction, my player ratings, that sort of thing. If you come back to this after the game or reply to that one later, if you want to be included in tomorrow's sort of in-depth reaction show. So come back after the full-time whistle, give me your thoughts on what you've seen, who impressed you, who didn't, man of the match, that sort of stuff. You can reply to the comments in this video or the one I do afterwards when I do my player ratings. Okay, a couple of you got in touch here on the back of the Liverpool-Everton game getting called off at Goodison Park yesterday. He said, KB is on with the Merseyside derby off, it's Everton with a good long rest before our game next Saturday. Bad, but Liverpool to have fixture congestion. Good. Happy about that, he asks. Tata says, Liverpool game being postponed is a massive boost for Arsenal. You've been saying for weeks that you expect the gap to be down to 4 or 5 points before January. Win tomorrow, we're already there. Come on, you Gunners, we're definitely back in it. Yeah, but Arsenal have to win. That's the thing. It doesn't matter what happens with Liverpool. If Arsenal don't take advantage of that and win, then it doesn't really matter. That's why today's game is obviously so important. But yes, as I said, sort of scoreboard pressure. If you can get that gap down to 4 points and then maybe even one, because I haven't looked at who's playing first next weekend. Arsenal have obviously got a game at 3 p.m. on Saturday next weekend against Everton. I presume Liverpool have probably playing on the Sunday, maybe. I'm not sure that, if Arsenal can win today and then win against Everton at the weekend, suddenly the gap's going to be 1 point, which is, just pressure-wise for Liverpool, knowing someone's that close to you, it can have an impact. But to your answer to your question there, where you say happy about that, KB, about the derby being off, I was a bit sort of on the fence about it. I put out a tweet yesterday on X, and honestly, you should have seen some of the responses I got. Just mad. But yeah, so in a way, you look at it, Liverpool were missing a few players yesterday. And Everton were coming into the game on the back of a 4-0 win. So maybe it would have been good if the game had got away. Maybe that would have been Everton's best chance of winning. But I still look at it, they're going to have to squeeze this in some point further down the line in the congested second half of the season. It's going to be a midweek game, you would expect. So it's going to be under the lights at Goodison. And I know for well, if I had a choice of Arsenal playing at Everton, I would pick 12:30 p.m. kickoff any day than a 7:45 p.m. under the lights night game at Goodison, especially for the very last Merseyside derby ever at Goodison Park. So I think it's probably going to be a good thing I still would have expected Liverpool to win yesterday early afternoon, even with the players that they were going to be missing. So, and even the fact that Everton had come into it after a 4-0 win, I still would have backed them to win. Squeeze it in at some point later down the season when they're playing left, right and centre and got Champions League games to navigate. knockout games to navigate potentially. Under the lights, I think it's probably a good thing for Arsenal long term that this game's been postponed, I have to say. I mean, you look at the league table there, you can see it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Obviously, Nottingham Forest had a fantastic week against Manchester United yesterday. United lose again, conceded a goal from a corner as well. So maybe it wasn't just the fact that Arsenal were good at corners that they scored a couple at the midweek. Maybe it's just that Manchester United are rank bad defending when it comes to set pieces. But yeah, Manchester City dropping points, drawing against Crystal Palace 2-2. Twice they went behind, twice they came back to get themselves level, couldn't get themselves in front. So it's another drop point. I think they've taken 4 points from their last 7 games in the Premier League, Manchester City, which is mentally crazy. But they have, and you look at that, Arsenal now ahead of Man City, even having played a game less. So you've got a chance to move 4 points clear of Man City with a win today, and within 4 points of Liverpool with a win today as well. So it's crucially important game, no doubt about it, a little bit later on today at Craven Cottage. Before we wrap this up, just wanted to add loads of responses to what I was talking about in yesterday's show in terms of Martinelli, when I was saying the criticism was that he's getting, I feel, is a little bit unfair. I said he's become a little bit of a whipping boy for some, which I think is harsh. I agree. And I said it yesterday that, in the summer, when you're looking at areas where Arsenal might look to improve the starting 11, I think definitely Martinelli's position at left wing will be under the spotlight. I think he's still doing a decent job for Arsenal. I think his numbers show he's doing an okay job for Arsenal this season. I don't think he's anywhere near as performing near as badly as some people say he is. But I agree, very similar to the Ramsdale incident. I remember the end of that season, as much as a surprise it was where I came in, when I was looking at where Arsenal could potentially improve, I thought goalkeeper was an area, even if that was going to be harsh on Ramsdale. And I look at this summer and think left wing clearly is an area where Arsenal might look to get more significant output from someone if they bring them in. And we've seen in the past when Arsenal have been interested in Mudryk with Nico Williams, that they've clearly identified that as an area where they could strengthen. But I just feel that some of the criticism Martinelli is getting is a little bit over the top from some. So I was saying that yesterday, and loads of responses to it. We've got it's very, very divided, the opinion as well. So I pulled some of them together. We've got Sir Antonius Black up there, a block up there, says, well said, Charles, on Martinelli. It's just lazy, stupid waffle of people who don't understand what they're looking at. Whenever he scores or assists, a few go quiet and then move on and moan about someone else. No one gets into this team unless Arteta is happy and they're carrying out his instructions. Great sound production, says Gabby is nobody's whipping boy. He has consistently made poor decisions in the final third for more than a year now. He is not being picked on merit. He works hard to see. I don't agree with that. He is being picked on merit. You don't, as the Sir Antonius Block said, you don't get included in Mikel Arteta's team if you're not being picked on merit. I don't think he works hard, but his lack of productivity in the final third has become the norm. It's not bad form. I still rate Gabby, but he is not good enough to be a starter in this team. Duda says Martinelli comments aren't harsh, Charles. They are fair. He is one-dimensional and defenders can usually predict what he's going to do. Why do you think the right-hand side is much more productive than the left? I just think the right-hand side is much more productive than the left because it's a stronger side. Again, that's not a slant at Martinelli. You're looking at a right-hand side that contains Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, two of the best players in the world in their positions. The left-hand side for Arsenal can't really say that. You've got, had so many issues there over the last couple of seasons. So many different players playing in those positions. You've got Declan Rice, who's not really a natural left 8 at the moment, playing as a left 8. You've got whatever fullback it is going to be each week playing at left back because it changes so much at Arsenal. So that's why it's different. And I think Arsenal want to play down that way. You obviously take advantage of your strength. So a lot of Arsenal's play go down the right because of how strong it is. I don't think it's necessarily because Martinelli's underperforming. David says, agree, the Martinelli criticism is once again Arsenal fans overreacting. Obviously, there's room for improvement. In particular, his finishing has dropped off a bit, but he has statistically still generated a higher level of expected threat, and his defensive contribution is super high. Plus, let's not forget how young he is. He can and will continue to fine-tune his game. We let him go. I'm sure Arsenal fans will be crying later, just like with ESR. A couple more here. Walker speaking says, Martinelli always helps out the defensive line on the left, and no one's talking about that. They're using him to play his position and other positions because of his speed on the left. If you're a footballer, you would know how difficult it is when you come up against a team who are stronger than we are. Not that side has to be putting a lot of work into that position. I'm sorry, he's doing an amazing job for us. Jason says the criticism aimed at Martinelli is what Martinelli is warranted. If he just ups his level, Arsenal will be on another level. He is just not performing. He is performing. I know everyone can have their opinion, but I can't see how you can say he's not performing. He may be not performing at the level of Bukayo Saka, but he's still playing a very key role in this Arsenal team. He's still scored a few goals this season. He's a threat. He's doing exactly what Mikel Arteta wants from him. Could Arsenal potentially get more from that left-hand side? Yes, I'm not arguing that, but I don't think he's not performing. I just think that's really harsh. John says, totally agree with Martinelli. Yes, his decision-making when he gets on the ball in those areas could improve, but how he times his run and how much work he puts in is a gift for Ricardo, and Zinni is always a threat, even if it more often leads to corners rather than goals. And Nate Inflatables Network says, hi, Charles. No, the comments about Martinelli are not unfair at all. He's defo not a whipping boy, just a harsh reality. Does not affect games and squanders many good moments to affect games during the 90. Please let's not confuse him running at players with his head down and attempting to shoot with his left foot for playing well. We honestly cannot see the evolution over the seasons. He shouldn't be sold, but defo at squad player status right now. A new left winger centre forward is required to win this league. So look, there's loads of responses there, loads of difference in opinion in Martinelli. And I can see the point. I can see the argument. I agree that maybe the left side is an area where Arsenal could look to improve in the summer if you're going to try and improve the starting 11 and potentially get more goals in this team. But I still think Martinelli's doing a fairly decent job and is a good player, a very important member of this squad. And you don't get the trust that Mikel Arteta gives in you unless you're doing what he wants. And he clearly is doing a lot of what Mikel Arteta wants right now, even if there is obviously room for improvement. Look, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching and for listening. I'm going to be heading over to Craven Cottage very, very soon. Enjoy the game later. If you're going, be safe out there. It is pretty horrible. It's not going to be the funnest day to be watching football, but hopefully Arsenal can cheer us all up on the pitch with their performance later on. Remember to come back after the game, reply to this with your comments, your opinions on what you've seen, and I'll pull some of them together and get them included in tomorrow's reaction show. Have a good one, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.